All right. Hello, YouTube. This is an emergency meeting.
Yes, it is. First, we'll start really quick. According to Century Leaks, there's gonna be a new trailer for Scarlet Violet on Sunday.
Yes. So there's a short trailer that's coming according to Central Leaks. But this is not what this video is about.
I just wanted to mention really quick since this is being recorded before then.
Yes. So the main story.
The main story is that last night I was bombarded over Twitter, because I have my notifications on for this particular account, where they were tweeting about that a parent company, Embracer Group, has acquired multiple gaming related companies. So Embracer Group is actually a parent company to THQ Nordic.
Okay.
And the first one that took me by surprise, and I was like, yeah, we really need to do a video, is that they acquired Limited Run Games. I love Limited Run Games.
We've been talking about limited run games throughout the start of the channel with the podcast, when we first started the podcast. That's when basically the early parts of the channel. And limited run games have always been in the news because they do physical versions of digital games.
Digital games or retro games.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't have a physical release or it's out of print or something, like, hey, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, so limited run games does fit that niche.
Yeah, they do. A lot of times, based on their name, it's a limited amount. A lot of times they have collector's edition, not just a standard, and it's cool. They were founded back in 2015 by Josh Fairhurst and Douglas Bogart. They're from the company's from North Carolina, and they opened a physical location not that long ago, which we also talked about, which makes sense for the company. And their slogan is "Forever Physical." I'm definitely always on board on that. Apparently, according to what I was reading, they published over 1,000 digital games to physical. It's quite a bit since then. So according to what I've been reading, Limited Run will operate as an independent subsidiary with the current founders continuing to lead the company under newly formed operative group in Embracer Free Mode, which is just a smaller operating group under Embracer Group.
Okay.
Yeah, it's what they call the 11th operating group under Embracer Group, called Embracer Free Mode, which focuses on retro, classic, heritage, gaming, entertainment, game development, production, devices, gear, collectibles, and more.
Okay.
Then we got...
Would this affect the business model of limited run games?
According to this, they're saying no, because the Carbon Engine and Limited Run business models align with the focus area of heritage within Free Mode, cherishing retro games and the opportunity to shepherd classic games into the future and preserve the legacy.
Okay.
That's what they're saying. The transaction...
But not just retro games, but they also make digital games that are only digital for Switch and stuff like that.
I know that part.
Into physical, like that's something else they do. There are just games that aren't really retro, but that are only in the digital space or unavailable or
which
something.
I was a little bit nervous about, because there was, as far as I've been reading, there was something mentioned about that. I don't know if it's implied, if that's going to be still a thing, or they're just going to focus on retro games. But according to the rest of this, is the transaction includes a wholly owned subsidiary, Limited Run Retail LLC, the retail store in Cary, North Carolina, as I mentioned, that opened earlier this year, and Limited Run's 40% ownership in the joint venture Super Deluxe Games in Japan. They will source games to Limited Run on the Western market and provide a channel to sell Limited Run's catalog in one of the strongest markets in the world for physical games. They did not disclose a price, if anyone's wondering.
Okay.
So there's that. Of course, this is still very new. A lot of times with these acquisitions, we don't know all the details right away.
Yeah.
Moving forward, we're not sure how this is going to be affected. It's down to the consumer level. That's why I am hoping that they still continue making modern digital titles into physical, not just the retro stuff, as much as that's cool.
Yeah.
So that's the big one, Limited Run Games. But then they acquired a few other companies. One called Syntrix, based out in Los Angeles. They're a vocal processing effects technology company for karaoke gaming entertainment. So, do we need to explain what vocal effects are?
Vocal effects?
Yeah, like so a lot of times this is used in music when giving effects to the vocals in a song
Right.
or something.
Okay, that's okay.
So it's pretty much that, but for karaoke gaming entertainment.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I was reading that this company was on Shark Tank, and they apparently got the money to get funded to make it to become a company. So they did the thing, and they were bought out by Embracer Group as well. So there's that. This one's quite big too. They acquired the IP rights for Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit from J.R.R. Tolkien.
That's crazy.
That is.
So they're going to like other territories. This is uncharted waters. Like, okay, it started with niche gaming stuff, and then like, okay, Lord of the Rings now. Like, who the fuck is next?
Right, which is crazy. But remember, isn't there gonna be a Lord of the Rings game? So it could also go hand in hand. Because remember, they said this for like entertainment and games. So they're trying to do a whole umbrella of things, according to all these acquisitions.
Right, but everything I heard so far is niche gaming, very specific.
Like
stuff,
for the
very specific markets
for
in
the
gaming.
the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit says Embracer's operative group Asmodee group is already one of the most successful licenses of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit through board games and card games, having published over a dozen games with over 100 expansions since the release of the board games for over 20 years ago for these titles, classics. So there's that, which is huge. The next one is Tuxedo Labs, which is a game developer out in Sweden. They seem to focus into tech-driven game studios. That's what they refer to themselves as. Let me see if there's any titles.
What else does Tuxedo do? I mean, that's very generic, but what do they do?
Says Tuxedo Labs has created revolutionary technology that opens up vast possibilities for emergent gameplay and user-created content. Their hit title Tear Down has potential to become the standard-bearing platform for physics simulation in games. Many of us at Saber and our subsidiary 3D Realms have worked with Dennis since the mid-2000s. We are super excited to welcome Dennis, which they're referring to Tuxedo Labs, because that's
right.
Yeah. And so they're welcoming them into the family of this. It's funny because when I was looking into them, it just said like, yeah, we use technology to make games. So like, yeah, but
like they make like this engine for that. Okay.
Yeah.
They probably dabble in VR, I assume. So yeah, they're company developers, but they focus more on.
Yeah, they were founded back in 2019, and
yeah, they don't seem to be like we make regular games. They make more like game engines and like.
So yeah, their title Tear Down has received universal critical acclaim since the release on Steam back in 2020, and has built a thriving modding community.
Yeah. Okay.
The game exited early access in April 20 of this year. Has sold over 1 million copies on Steam.
Yeah, kind of like Gary's Mod and those type of games that are like more like tools. Well, they're games, but like they also could be used.
Yeah,
as...
so the acquisition adds a uniquely talented team focused on physics-based game technology and design. Within the Embracer Group, Tuxedo Labs will operate as a subsidiary under the Saber operating group. The acquisition further strengthens Saber's presence within Sweden. So there's that. So it looks like they're also going a bit global too. The next one is Tripwire Entertainment. They're out in Roswell, Georgia. They founded back in 2005, and they're game devs. It says Tripwire has continued to develop successful titles with The Killing Floor. They also made the Killing Floor 2 as well. Series boasting over 35 million players. They also made the Rising Storm series, over 14 million players, and Maneater. You probably recognize that
yes.
one? Yeah.
Okay.
So that's them. And then going back to what I was explaining before, is the whole operating group, which is all of this is going to be under like pretty much, well, of course, each one is going to be under a different subsidiary, but above that of the umbrella is the Embracer Free Mode, and on top of that is Embracer Group. It's like if for anyone that wants like the nitty gritty and all the details, go to War64 on Twitter. He did a breakdown of each one. That's what I was using as my source.
I mean, he is a good source for these things. He does
really
document
is.
like so much. He documents so much stuff. Sometimes not even gaming, but mostly gaming. But he does document like I would say media, like media news, but it's mostly on the gaming department.
Yeah,
and
so
like when things are on sale, or when there's
lots of sales,
news or leaks or things like inquisitions like these.
Yep.
He covers the more detailed nitty gritty in Twitter format, which is just like he could easily do it in a Twitter thread and just convey all the information there.
Exactly.
Conveniently. That's great. Another Twitter account I recommend is Saved You a Click. That's a great guy who like finds gaming articles that like have too much fluff and just like explains it in like 200 characters or less, like that kind of thing. Like
then we got Free Mode. The Embracer Free Mode is headquartered in Karisstad, Sweden, with territory offices in Livermore, California, London, UK, and Hong Kong. Free Mode's funding companies are existing Embracer-owned businesses that previously reported directly to our group CEO and headquarters in Sweden. Free Mode operates 12 companies in 6 countries with a total of 509 employees.
all right.
That's that.
That's all for now?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, do you want more?
Do you
want to acquire them? What else? Because I feel like they're going to acquire me too.
Yeah, I just want to make sure our bases are covered before I end this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A huge acquisition.
Yes. So, stay alert for these Embrace people. They might acquire your favorite developers or something.
So they might acquire you.
So, yeah, thanks for watching and have a good one.